Hello, my name is Gray.
And my name is Crystal.
And this is Bust Asian Beauties, the supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show several times,
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 3, Episode 14, Long Distance Call, written by Jeremy Carver. My enemy, directed by Robert Singer. Also my enemy. I feel like I've been making so many enemies with the supernatural writers.
Well, they're just kind of the worst people ever. So, that's what happens.
This is his 4th episode in
Jeremy?
Season 3.
That's a lot of episodes.
How many episodes are in Season 3? Is it like 16?
So he's 25% of Season 3.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a lad.
And then they made him
A showrunner.
They made
did
him a
do that.
showrunner.
They chose that on purpose.
Okay. So, I mean, this episode is an episode.
Yeah. Okay, I guess to contextualize where we're at, the last episode I transcribed, I said, remember when we took that 1 month break? This is after that 1 month break, and I feel like people are gonna assume that the 1 month break I was talking about in our Yes and Bella episode was our February 1 month break. But no, I was talking about our December 1 month break. This is the first recording after our February 1 month break. We are recording on March 4th, 2023.
Oh my God.
And I have not thought about, watched Supernatural for like over a month.
An entire fucking month. How was it? What was the feeling like?
It was beautiful. It was freeing. I walked around. I didn't think about Misha Collins ever. I played Disco Elysium, which is good. Yeah, it was just a wonderful time. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I also played some games, which there's gonna be an outtake, I think, at the end of this episode where we just talk about the games we've been playing.
Not at the end of this episode, on our Ko-fi.
Sorry,
you have to pay to
Ko-fi.
hear about our video game opinions, which of course are so fascinating and interesting, and everybody wants to hear them.
You have to pay $3 at least. I mean, I don't know. Is there an at least payment in Ko-fi? I have no idea how Ko-fi works.
You have to $3.
Really? Well, you have to pay $3
to hear our entirely mid video game opinions. Yes.
No, you have to pay $3 to hear me talk about Kiryu Kazuma shirtless shower scene from Yakuza 0. So, I mean, what did we think about this episode? What did you know about it, at least? That's our format.
Nothing?
I asked you that.
Yes. Okay, right. So, what I knew about it... Okay, I knew nothing about it, and then I was talking to my ex-fiancé, and she was like, what's your next recording? And I said, oh, it's Long Distance Call. And she was like, I think I remember that one. There's, demons that possess people through the phone. So I was here waiting for the demons that possessed people through the phone, but there were no demons, and they possessed no people through no phones.
The whole point of the episode is that there's no demons.
Well, the point of the episode is, yes, I think the first point is that there's no ghosts, and then the second point is that there's no demons, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you feel that this episode was very quick-paced?
Quick-paced? As in... Oh, paced.
The pacing... Yeah. Quick pace.
I just don't know what Supernatural is supposed to be like anymore. I feel like my main feelings about this episode were that it was an interesting concept. Like, they picked a monster of the week that allows for a lot of good stuff. I don't think they, like, took that to its highest potential, but I feel like Supernatural's always better when John's involved. Like, I mean, awful sentence, but it just makes Dean a lot more likable, and since they've decided he's the main character, like, that makes sense. But I also, there was just also a lot of, like, misogyny and racism in earlier parts of the episode.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if this was a good episode, but I do remember, like, feeling like, oh, like, it was stupid of me to dread coming back to Supernatural so much because I'm having fun at certain points in the episode. So I guess I, like, generally enjoyed myself.
You thought that? You thought that?
I thought what?
That you were having fun?
Sam and Dean were yelling at each other, and I was like, yes, bite and kill. I do enjoy watching this.
I had the thought, oh my god, Sam looks so good. And that's the only positive thought I had this entire episode.
Are you talking about the final scene where he has, like, the red smudged, like, on his face from, like, the fight?
Not even. It was like when he was walking back from the house after talking to the man. The vaguest explanation
I'm
of a
trying to
scene
figure
possible.
out which fucking man. Oh, the father of the teenage girl?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. Huh. I don't recall what he looked like.
Yeah. He doesn't have bangs anymore. And, like, I was afraid that, like, I wouldn't be fond of Sam anymore
without the bangs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But because he has the bangs, I actually quite enjoy it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no.
Because, like, he doesn't have the bangs anymore, and I think he looks very attractive.
Huh. Nice.
Huh. Yeah.
I think I actually have a note on my doc that says Sam looks bad this episode.
No! You're so mean.
I might have just forgotten what he looks like.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I was watching this, literally, maybe the reason why I thought it was fast-paced is because I've been pouring hours and hours into video games that are so slow.
It's true.
But, like, when I was watching this, all I could think of was, like, well, I mean, I've been playing games that are hyper-masculine, but I've been enjoying those. Why am I not enjoying them? So
God.
real.
So real.
So, now that we've talked about our conflicting opinions on Sam's visuals this episode, let's start.
Visuals, you're such a K-pop fan. Okay, let's start.
Yeah. Well, so we start the episode with a man drinking
do we want
whiskey.
to talk about the then sequence at all?
Well, I mean, we can, but what's in it?
I think I just took really detailed notes this episode because after transcribing our US and Bello episode, I was like, no, I have to do better. So I just have bullet points for fucking everything.
I mean, I just want to say, Arjus and Bello, I mean, how do you pronounce it? Is it Use and Bello? Or whatever?
Bello, I think. It's probably
Is
Use
it
and Bello.
for real? It's literally just in Bello to me. But, like, that episode, it was so bad. So, like, I want to apologize. It was horrible.
Henriksen deserved better from both of us, but we were so sleepy.
Exactly. We were so EP.
We were so EP. Highlights of the then sequence. I thought it was funny that Dean's voiceover was, I have a year left to live, so why don't we make the most of it, over him, like, stabbing Astaroth over and over again. Yeah, like, so true.
The brutal stabbing scene.
That is him, like, living it up, having a fun, like, farewell tour. Um, right, they have scenes where, like, Dean's sad about John's death, which, since I didn't know what this episode was about, I was like, oh, fascinating, how does this come up? But all the scenes are about Dean being sad and not about Sam's grief in any way whatsoever, which is a great foreshadowing to the episode.
Yeah. I'm surprised that like they didn't make Dean wear the leather jacket this episode because of that joke that's
with
like
the leather jacket.
does he? Well,
Yeah.
maybe that post about how you know when an episode is gonna deal with Dean's John issues when he starts the episode with the leather jacket. Literally,
God,
so
so
true.
fucking true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the main highlights of the then sequence. I think something about the then sequence, because it was like his John grief followed immediately by like him talking about how he'll never get out of the Sam deal. I guess I was thinking about, do you think that he would have made the deal if John was still alive?
Oh. Wow, this is like season 1 shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've never talked about anything like this since season 1. That's interesting. I don't think he would have, because he would, the, like, listening to my father would come first. Or, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he prioritizes Sam over his father in his life at that point. But, like, their relationship when John was alive was very different. Like his and Sam's.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't just have each other. So that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my reasoning was that I don't think he would, because, like, this is probably kind of uncharitable to Dean, but I sort of assume that the reason he made a deal for Sam is because, like, all he lives for is family. So, like, since John was dead, Sam was the only family he had left, and either Dean would be alone forever, or, like, he'd die and Sam would be alone forever, and Dean finds Sam being alone forever a better outcome for himself. Whereas if John was still alive, like he still cares about Sam and it would suck. But I think that he would be like, I still have family and I'm not going to abandon my living family. So I don't need to die.
Also, I think it would cross his mind that, I mean, who am I going to leave behind? Sam and Dad? Like, be fucking for real.
Oh, yeah. They would kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be done. I think he would. I think if Sam and John had a better relationship, he might change his mind, because I feel like he likes the fantasy of, like, the Winchester family being together. So if he could be like, Sam and John, like, will be together, like, hunting, and, like, the Winchesters and the family business will still be going strong, I feel like he might make the deal. But yeah, if Sam and John, the way that they are, it would not work.
It would not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we start with the actual episode now. And it's a man drinking whiskey, very, very distressed. And the phone is ringing, so he picks it up. And it's this woman named Linda. And Linda seems to be a mistress at this point in the episode. And she's saying, like, come to me, like, we can be together. You know, stuff like that. Like, mistress stuff. I don't know what. I was like... and the guy's like, I can't.
He's like, my wife, I can't leave her. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, like, I can't leave my wife. And Linda's like, no, please, please. And she keeps on ringing him and ringing him and ringing him to the point where he smashes the phone. And, like, the line disconnects. As in, the line to the wall disconnects. Do you still have a telephone?
No.
At your, like, family house?
No. We don't even have, like,
no?
a home. I think we got a flip phone to be our home phone number, and then we lost it.
That's a slay.
Yeah.
We do have a telephone.
Nice.
Yeah. And even here, like, I don't think it's that common. I think we're like an old-fashioned house in that way, even here. So that's not like a Filipino thing. That's just a my family thing. Yeah. Anyway, the line disconnects, but the phone still rings.
Yep.
And the guy is like, okay, fucking fine. And he opens his cabinet and pulls out a tiny ass gun. And he goes, if this is what you want or something.
He says, okay, Linda, you win.
You win. And then he shoots himself. And it's like blood splatter.
Yeah.
And that's the end of our teaser. It's...
Yep.
I liked the teaser.
I agree.
Because it's like... You... Like, at every single point, you're, like, guessing about what's happening. And then when it clicks at the end where he's like, okay, you win. And then... I think, like, Linda is saying, like, before this is like, we could be happy together. And he says, okay, you win. Meaning that, like, together means in death.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like ghosts on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's done pretty well. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't give too much away about the case. And yeah. It is sufficiently creepy.
Yeah, and it's like what a teaser is supposed to be like. Because we've had teasers in this show that were like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make you think. It's just somebody dies. And it's like, you can remove this from the episode and it wouldn't do anything.
Right.
But this one sets up the episode pretty well.
Yeah, good teaser. So we cut to some college campus. And we know it's a college campus because the first shot shows a hot dog stand with the title Hot Dog on Campus. So true.
The hot dog is literally on campus.
It literally fucking is. So yeah, right. Dean is on the phone with Bobby, and he is wearing his leather jacket. I wrote that down.
Okay.
And yeah, he's like finishing up the call, going like, yeah, okay, cool. And he has a hot dog. Sam comes over, and I guess Dean does like this physical like gag where he like shoves the rest of the whole thing in his mouth and then tosses Sam a can of soda. This can of soda is the most interesting character in this episode because from the way it's tossed, like, and the fact that it's not opened, it's a full can of soda. But when Sam angry walks off at the end of the scene, he throws it away. Did you notice that?
No. Sam, maybe Sam has like a cola preference. He has a soda preference. And this is not. Maybe he's a Sprite guy.
Right. I used to be a Sprite
what
guy.
I think Sam, you know what? I've seen what Diet Dr. Pepper people are like on the internet.
Okay.
And I think Sam could be one of them.
Huh. Fascinating. I'll go with that. I don't know soda personality types very well. What kind of a soda guy are you?
I'm I like Diet Coke, not because of the diet, but because of the
it tastes different.
It's less sweet. Yeah, it tastes different. And I don't like Coke when it's too sweet, so I like Diet Coke. But other than that, I like sparkling water.
Oh god.
So, yeah, I like sparkling
water. Should I look for a new podcast co-host?
No!
I feel like this may be necessary. This is information you should have disclosed before we became friends. But okay, continue.
I like sparkling, like, I don't like sweet stuff, sweet drinks that much. So, like, if given the choice of drinking anything sparkly, like, okay, when I go to Starbucks, I buy the bottled kombucha.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I drink in
yeah.
Starbucks. In a coffee shop. I drink kombucha.
At Starbucks.
Yes.
Well, you know, it takes all kinds to make the world go around.
One of us has gotta be Californian.
I used to be a Sprite guy, and then I realized that no one was forcing me to drink soda, and I never had to have my tongue attacked by evil little bubbles again. So now I'm a no carbonation guy.
Oh my god. Sprite people are so fucking annoying. Like, that's
okay.
Unreal
tell me more.
How annoying they are. They're very picky. They're like, Sprite people, I find, they're like, if you go to McDonald's and you accidentally order Coke for them, they won't drink it type of people.
Well, yeah, because it's Coke. It's a very different flavor. Sprite is like carbonated lemonade. Coke is like, what is it?
No,
like vanilla based?
Like, I understand that this is like coming from a different place, but like I was taught, like, if somebody serves you food, you eat it. You know?
Fair.
So like if somebody serves you Coke and you go, "Oh no, I like Sprite." Like, in my mind, I'm like, "You're so rude. You're a terrible person." I know that's not true. Like, but like that's the instinctual reaction that I have.
I understand.
Yeah. And then people who order Coke Zero, unreal. Like, you're unfucking real.
Wait, so what are the good soda people? Just Diet Coke?
Diet Coke, regular Coke. If you order that, like, orange, like, I think it's Fanta. It's called Fanta in the US. Yeah. And here we call our orange Coke Royal. Okay. If you order Royal, I mean, live your life. But I am against it. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like back when I thought I had to drink soda, I was Sprite and then Fanta, so good to know what you think.
I just feel like you don't have to mimic a fruit in soda. It's soda.
You don't have to mimic a water in soda either.
That's true. Well, maybe we should move on from this.
Maybe we should move on from this. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. You think when Sam saw Dean stuff half a hot dog in his mouth, he, like, his PTSD got triggered from Mystery Spot?
What?
From Mystery Spot, when Dean fucking died from, like, one bite of sausage.
Yeah, he died eating sausage.
Yeah, slay.
They don't acknowledge that episode at all. It's like a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, like, at no point does Sam have, like, a little breakdown and go, like, I had to watch you die, like, 100 times and then live 6 months.
Not even that. It was, like, the completely, like, brutal time that he lived after that death for, like, 6 months after, right?
Yeah, 6 whole months. Right. I don't know. They're, like, very bad at continuity in Supernatural. I would really enjoy if, like, I saw them, like, flinch at things that, like, hurt them in previous episodes and future episodes. Like, they don't even have to, like, say anything about it. Just, like, do some, like, acting with your face. But yeah, they're bad at that.
Yeah.
So Sam tells Dean that, like, the professor that he consulted to ask about getting Dean out of his demon deal didn't know anything. And Dean tells Sam about the case by saying, "Pack your panties, Sammy, we're hitting the road." So, yeah, little ding in my head in some point category. So Bobby has told Dean about the banker suicide that we saw in the beginning. And Sam goes, "Oh, so you guys were talking about a case?" And Dean goes, "No, we were actually talking about our feelings and then our favorite boy bands. Yeah, we were talking a case." He's unfucking bearable. Thank God John comes in to, like, make Dean just a scared little boy again, or else I would have killed him.
Talking
So...
about our feelings and our favorite boy bands is exactly what our conversations are like off podcast.
That is
Like
true.
literally our feelings and my favorite boy bands.
Yeah. Yeah. Have I ever experienced a boy band that I liked? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think you liked the
Solo artists.
the artist in the movie Saving Red, Serving Red.
Serving Red, real.
Turning Red.
Yeah, what is it? It's not Fortran. What's the name of it's for something. Turning Red, boy band, Google, well, DuckDuckGo. Four Town.
You know what's fascinating? They have a song that's like, it sounds quite similar, like a portion of it, to a Super Junior song. Yeah.
You told
and
me,
I'm a
yeah.
big Super Junior fan. And like the comments in that music video for a while were like, oh my god, this sounds exactly like the song from Turning Red. It's so cool. And I was like, OMG, me and Crystal solidarity.
That is extremely true and correct. So Sam's pretty surprised that Dean wants to talk about a case and do a case, because he says, like, that the thing they're focusing on right now should be getting Dean out of his deal. And Dean tells him, like, we have no leads and we can't do anything, so whatever, let's just hunt. And Sam has giant sad puppy eyes about it, and he tells Dean that they should summon Ruby. And Dean says that this is, like, an argument that they've had a lot. And then Dean finally reveals what Ruby told him in Malleus Magnificarum, which is that she doesn't actually have a way to save him. And yeah, when Dean yells this, like, Sam goes, what? And he looks, like, so sad and betrayed. I know it's mostly just because Dean has to die, but, like, my Sam Ruby heart does want to think that a lot of it is just that he's sad that Ruby lied to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sam goes, like, you didn't mention this to me? And Dean goes, I really don't care what that bitch thinks, and neither should you, so... Girl... some people use misogyny to cope. He's just dealing with the fact that he's gonna die soon. Get over yourself, Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is when Sam's like, okay, fuck this, I guess we have to do the case, and then throws his completely full, unopened can of soda into the trash can. He, like, does, like, a little toss from, like, 2 feet away, and you watch it go into the bin, and it seems to not actually fall in. It seems to get caught in the corner between the metal of the bin and the actual trash can. Fascinating. Love it.
They didn't think to reshoot it. They just went along with it.
Yeah. Who decided that should be a thing at all? Whatever. Is it to show that Sam's so angry that he's willing to waste the, like, $1 of fake credit card money that Dean spent on getting him a soda?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Or maybe... maybe he really just is a soda hater, just like you.
Yeah. So true.
So, we go to the house of the guy who died.
Yep.
And they're talking to the lady, and it's like usual fare for Supernatural, where like the victim's wife is uncooperative, and it's like, the detectives have been here. Like, literally, it's just that.
Yeah.
And what they discovered is that at some point, the guy had been receiving calls.
Wait,
and
do you want to mention how Dean gets her to talk?
Oh, yeah. Dean says... Wait, where was it? Like, It's capital punishment.
Withholding information
Like,
from the police is a capital offense. Meaning, we will fucking
Literally.
death penalty you right now if you don't talk to us.
And then, like, Sam goes, no.
No.
And Dean goes like, well, it is in some places, perhaps. And I was like, Dean, you're so fucking unreal.
Yep.
Anyway, what happens is the lady says that, like what I said earlier, the husband has been receiving calls, but whenever she picks up the other end, which is a fascinating thing with telephones,
Yeah.
there's nobody on the line. So her husband was just talking to a woman named Linda to static noise.
Mm-hmm.
So creepy.
Creepy.
I mean, that's like such a creepy idea.
Yes.
Right? Like you're someone in the other room is talking to someone on the phone and you pick it up and it's like nothing.
Yes.
That's fucking terrifying.
It is really scary. Yeah.
Yeah. In the motel room, Dean, this is why I said like it's a bit fast paced. They never even like do like research on Linda.
Yeah.
They just find her immediately.
Yes.
But basically Linda was
She's a high schooler.
Ben.
And you know what Dean says about her photograph?
She's a babe.
She's a high schooler. She died in high school. And later he calls a teenage girl jailbait. So, you know,
Yeah,
big win for what, like, pedophile Dean truthers out there? What the fuck is going on?
The jailbait line? This one flew over me. The like Linda's a babe and she's a high schooler. But like when he said like, okay, just hang out with jailbait then. I was like, what the fuck?
He's
What the
never
fuck is
met
this guy
this girl.
doing?
He just knows that there's a high school girl that Sam has spoken to once, and this is what he refers to her as.
Yeah, and it's like so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Even as like a passing remark or a joke,
And he, like,
it's still fucking
hammers it in.
creepy as all hell.
Because he's like, oh, like, I hope that guy from How to Catch a Predator doesn't show up. Like, what? What's happening? Jeremy Carver, do we need to talk?
I don't want to talk to that man.
Yeah, nor do I.
Well, he did shave. He did make that father shave up to shave his chest.
Right, and I guess that makes everything else okay. It fucking doesn't. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Ben and Linda were high school sweethearts, and then she died because a drunk driver hit them. Like, I don't know, but she got cremated, so they don't know why she's still calling. And Sam figures out that the caller ID that they see, which is like SHE 1333.
It's like
I don't know, it doesn't matter.
I think it's SHA33.
SHA33, yeah. Apparently that's like a really old phone number, like way back phone number, and like it's fascinating. It's over 100 years old. Why? Why that tidbit of information? Just to throw us off with like
to throw
the
us off with the Thomas Edison Museum, I guess.
yeah.
So we moved to this phone company, and there's some man who we find out his name is Clark, and he's leading them down to the basement to like ask some people some questions about phone things. And Dean tries to social engineer himself into a free meal by saying, like, oh, the main office said that, like, there's, like, gonna be a lunch here prepared for us. And the guy's like, yeah, sure, yeah, no, we can get you something. Dean's so real for that. And there's, like, the
Oh my god,
CGI
this
fly.
scene! I just remembered.
Oh,
I just remembered what this scene.
Oh yeah,
is.
no,
And I'm like,
I look forward to talking at length about what's about to come up. There's a CGI fly that flies into Sam's hair, which I guess will be relevant. And the guy's like,
yeah,
sorry, we have a
barely.
hygiene issue down here. And then they go into an office in the basement, and we see this guy named Stewie, and he's Asian, which
Yeah.
is not a win for this particular character at all.
I mean, it's like he
whole
does die
time,
a brutal death.
I'm like, is this racist? Is this racist? Like, everything he does, I'm like, is this racist? Probably.
Well, it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, this may be a shock to people who are everyone else. I don't know. I don't think this is shocking, but like people of different races can be racist to other people of different races,
Yes.
even though they're all people of color.
Yeah.
So like, yes, I do think it is racist.
Well, I think it's more, I was just wondering if the portrayal of Stewie in general as, like, an Indian man who's, like,
course.
an IT guy who's, like, sweaty and, like, dirty and, like, really weird and servile to Clark later is racist, and yes, it is. So yeah, this is Stewie. Yeah, he's Indian, and he's sitting at a place with a bunch of screens. Like, there's junk food around, there's, like, flies buzzing around him. He's, like, sweaty, and there's, like, porn all over the screens in front of him. And one of those porn sites, we will find out soon, is the title of our podcast.
Woo!
Woo!
I shouldn't be cheering. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so Clark is quite rude to Stewie. He, like, fucking flicks the back of his head. What kind of, like, that's, like, yeah, HR should hear about that. But unfortunately Stewie will be too dead at the end of the episode.
HR needs to hear a lot of things about this office.
Yeah. Right, I guess the murders should probably come first. But
The two dead people in the basement should probably be at the top of their agenda.
Yeah, but then, like, Clark flicking Stewie's head, it should also be there at some point. Yeah,
well,
so...
I think the pornography should also be in the agenda. Oh, yes, the
pornography should also be in the agenda. I agree. Yeah, so... Right, the man, or Clark, is like, these people are from headquarters, you should give them whatever they need. Like, Stewie turns around and, like, funny crosses his legs to hide his raging boner. And...
I hate it!
Yeah. So, what occurs next is Stewie asks, how can I help you? And Dean looks at the screen and goes, is that bustyasianbeauties.com? And we see some terrible graphic design of an Asian woman being sexy and shit. And this, like, fucking weird robot voice comes from the screen and says, "Me so horny." Do you know what "Me so horny" is from?
No! Okay,
so Me So Horny is from a Vietnam War movie called Full Metal Jacket.
Oh my god.
Where like a sex worker approaches the soldiers and says, "Me so horny, me love you long time." And then like they, I don't know, like give her $10 for like whatever, full treatment. And I guess this is a pretty important sentence to just general Asian fetishization culture, in that, like, I don't, like, if you look up that sentence, you will get, like, 10 articles from various Asian women that start with, like, every Asian woman has been catcalled by someone yelling, "Me so horny, me love you long time" at them on the street, which I think might be an older generation thing. I think this movie is not as popular anymore. But yeah, I think this is like kind of like the Asian fetishization sentence. So, that's fun.
No.
Love it so much.
Yeah. Every time they do this gag, it like gets worse and worse.
Yeah, like the fucking worst one is the Men of Letters one, because it just makes you think a lot about Western imperialism in Asia, like, so hard, but yeah.
Yeah, like, really they throw in another tidbit that's like, oh, okay. Well, they're actually doing this, like, as a joke, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yay.
I mean, at least when we were watching Tall Tales, I was ready. I've been ready since season 1.
Yeah.
But, like, having this happen now.
Yeah.
I was shocked because I didn't expect this episode to be like this.
Right.
Like,
same.
I mean, also, like, it's the same deal with the jailbait comment.
Yes.
Like, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're just like, so, fucking, whoa, okay, I guess this is happening now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like being surprised. This is a show that I've watched several times according to my tagline. I don't like to be surprised by anything that happens in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Dean tells him, like, hey, some advice? The platinum membership is worth every penny.
Oh my god. He has a platinum membership.
He has a platinum membership to bustyasianbeauties.com. You think Dean's like, I'm supporting the workers by doing this?
I mean, do you, like I don't think so.
Is, but, like, I don't think he would think it. He technically is, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think that's what he's thinking. I
mean, he is, there's the intentionality of it, right? Like, I don't think he's like, okay, I'm gonna jerk it to a hot Asian lady today so that she can have food on her table tomorrow. Like, I don't think that's the logic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, but I think that the scene does, like, bring up a point that I saw in a Tumblr post once, which is that, like, Bab isn't really, like, a Dean-specific thing. It's more that, like, the writers of Supernatural believe that in the Supernatural universe, every man attracted to women has an Asian fetish. Like, they just feel like it's a natural part of being attracted to women. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is another fascinating thing. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the casting of Stewie in general. Like, do you think...
Yeah,
like, do you think
this like a blind cast?
Yeah, did they race blind cast? Because his full name is Stewie Myers, which sounds like a name that they would come up with for a race blind cast. So, I feel like probably... But also, I don't know, I feel like he just happens to fall into so many stereotypes that it's like, did they change the script after this man was cast?
Well, I mean, the like dirty nature was like relevant.
Yeah, it is relevant
to the episode.
So like, it's actually a Clark thing, but like, like Stewie still is the one generating the quote unquote filth that Clark, like, as a creature thrives among. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it's hard to tell. Right.
Yeah, and like, this is something I also think about when we discuss, like, stereotypes in a TV show, right? Like, the concept that like people of color, for example, cannot be anything but perfect because like representation, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like Supernatural is not the avenue to have that discussion. I'm bringing it up because it may be on some people's minds, but like, not in this white ass fucking show.
Yeah, I think
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like my feelings on that is like it is fine to have characters fall into some stereotypes as long as like they're like nuanced characters that feel like people,
Yeah.
like so they're not caricatures. But like this is like a minor character and this is supernatural that only has a person of color once in a blue moon and like they either die or are like just terrible in some fashion or both. So yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
this is not the avenue to be having this conversation. But yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
It's like I feel like every time there's a person of color, I'm like, this is like the first South Asian character on Supernatural, and he's like this, and that's a problem. But also, just Supernatural has no people of color ever. Like that claim could be made of every single person of color and whatever flaws they have. But like, I don't. I feel like maybe we'll get into this more like in the like the like scene where like he's like tied up and Clark kills him. But I just like the whole time I was like, would they ever have a white man say or do any of the things that are happening here? And I just couldn't really imagine it in Supernatural.
Well, I think they would have like a white man do it, but like obviously the visuals would be different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's an issue mostly of how many South Asian characters do we see in the show, you know?
I feel like this is the first one, and then we get the gods that
Yeah.
get fucking killed in Hammer of the Gods.
Yeah. Literally, it's like at the top of my head, it's this and Hammer of the Gods.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Anything else? You know?
Yeah.
So, if we had like a wide variety of South Asian characters in the show,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had one that was like falls into a stereotype, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but obviously that's not what the show is trying to do.
Mm.
Or did do.
Yeah.
So.
So Sam shows Stewie like the phone number, and Stewie's like, I don't want to run this phone number and see who's used it because it's like ancient. And then Dean like Dean like convinces him by like threatening him sort of by saying like there's like a bunch of like employee code violations down here. And he like yells at him a bit. And Stewie's like, okay, fine. And like Dean like smiles at like this like proudly, and Sam like smiles back like he's like proud of him too, which was like, all right, I guess. Is this just like, look, I did better than threatening capital punishment, like I did something that actually makes sense? Is that what that smile was?
Yeah, because he's like, well, earlier I told a woman she would die, like she would die on the electric chair because she wouldn't tell us that she was receiving phone calls from an anonymous person.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing much better.
Yeah, I'm just threatening to get him fired. That's like fine, right? Yeah. I feel like, okay, like all these scenes are funny because we know that these are just Sam and Dean, but like from the perspective of the people they're interrogating, like these are police officers and they're like threatening police force on them, and that fucking sucks. Like it's funny from our end because of what we know, but actually they suck for this, like really bad. Stewie runs the number and he gets that, oh my god, like it has been calling people. It's called 10 different numbers in the past few weeks. And he prints out the addresses for them. And then Stewie goes like, okay, can you guys go so that I can continue jerking off? And Dean's like, haha, so true, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yay.
Dean's reaction was so... Like, he was like, ha ha ha.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, right. Jerk it off, King. Like, what's the deal?
What do you mean by what's the deal? Are we Dean Stewie's truthing? What's happening?
Well, no, I'm not.
Yeah, this is just like... I don't know, like, I guess this is what Jeremy Carver thinks bro culture is, and maybe it is what bro culture is. I don't know.
I had someone, like, I was talking to someone about, like, I want to text my ex, blah, 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 and then he just goes, just jerk off, man. So maybe it is. Maybe it is bro culture.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, we're at Sam, and he's visiting, like, different houses, and this specific house that he visits a man opens the door, and there's, like, a little kid who is playing with a ball, and he's looking at them, and then he goes, like, there's been instances of dropped calls and static noises and strange voices at the end of the line on the phones, and I'm part of the phone company, so I want to inquire about it. And the dad is like, well, I know nothing about it, but Sam catches the eye of this teenage girl in the back who's looking at him all terrified. Mm-hmm. So he figures out that there's something there. So as he walks out, the girl actually shows up before he leaves and says that you're not from the phone company because your car sucks and your suit sucks.
Yeah, and
like,
for clarity, he's not driving baby because he and Dean split up, so Sam had to go and fucking rent a car.
He rented some fuck-ass car, and his suit is, like, apparently so ill-fitting that this girl, like, noticed it immediately.
I couldn't tell, but I feel like if we took, like, every suit that I saw in my life, like, the supernatural would make up a large percentage of the suits I've seen in my life. So I guess my, like, taste in suits is just fucked.
The girl continues talking to him and saying that, I didn't hear anything. There's no reason why I'm here, standing so uncomfortably in front of you. And Sam just says, like, in a roundabout way, in a way where she goes, like, I didn't hear anything, okay? And Sam goes, well, if you did, then I would tell you that. And then he says that he's been there as well. There was a time where he was hearing things and seeing things that he couldn't explain. But he thinks he can help out. So the girl actually confesses to talking to her mom on the phone. Her mom being dead for 3 years now. So Sam just reassures her that she's not crazy.
Misha Collins' voice.
You're not crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I liked this scene. I like that Sam got a moment to talk about, like, his psychic past. I wish that we heard more about how he feels about his psychic past, but, like, it's nice to have it acknowledged.
I thought it was actually quite funny because, like, you know how we used to make that joke that every time Sam sees, like, a potential mirror, he's like, yes. Oh my god.
Yes.
A potential mirror.
Yes.
And I was like, he's literally looking at this girl like, oh my god, this girl literally a potential mirror.
Yeah,
and
she's
I will
so me.
Fucking... She's just like me for real.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we got a Sam mirror in this episode. We've been missing Sam mirrors for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the way that he says this, like, it sounds like he's, like, extending, like, schizophrenia solidarity to her, right? Which is why it's, like, such a weird turnaround when he's like, but you're not crazy. And I'm against people with mental illnesses forever.
You're right.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've read some decent analyses of, like, the psychic kids being, like, a schizophrenia allegory because all of it happened when they're 22 and, like, schizophrenia usually shows up in, like, your teens or early 20s, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Supernatural could never, would never.
Yeah.
So we have Sam and Dean on a phone call together, and Dean reveals that, like all the people who he hit up also had calls with dead people. He said that he talked to an 84-year-old who's been having phone sex with her husband who died in the Korean War. It redefined my understanding of the word necrophilia, and as he says this, like a hashtag hot woman, like, hears it and goes like, ugh, as she, like, walks past him, and then Dean turns around to check her out. Okay, cool. It was funny, though, when she overheard and went, ugh.
Literally me at seeing Dean's face.
So true. So yeah, Dean hangs up with Sam.
Did you just say for true?
I said sore true. One of my roommates keeps saying sore true, and now it's made its way into my vocabulary, even though I fucking hate when he says it. He can't hear
Literally
me, can he?
Anyway. True.
So, right, so after Dean hangs up, he gets a call again, and he picks up, and it's static, and then he hears Jeffrey Dean Morgan's voice, or I guess John's voice, say,
JDM, baby.
Say, Dean, is that you? And Dean goes, Dad? And the scene ends, baby. Okay, wait, quick question. Like,
yes,
this is so Dean-centric. Like, who else would you like to have called? Like, my number one vote is for Jess to call Sam.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, but are there any other people that would be interesting? I guess, like, Mary, but...
Yeah, I think maybe, I forgot her name.
Maddie?
Magdalene? It's not Magdalene. Maddie.
Yeah, I also had Maddie. We're still doing Dean calls. Like, I think Henriksen should just hit him up 2 episodes later.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, and then Dean can have necrophiliac phone sex. Yeah.
maybe Victor can redefine necrophilia for him.
Yeah. Also Ash.
Ash, interesting.
I feel like because Ash was such a plot armor, like helping them point to like new demon things, I feel like he would have made sense there. I feel like
no, exactly.
There was a mismatch with like John, and then this whole storyline being about like Dean trying to get out of the deal. Like, I feel like if John's the one calling, it should be like a family relationships episode and not a demon deal episode, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like John literally failed to get out of his demon deal. And like when Ash died, he was like gonna tell them something. Yeah. And like that continuation of like, in my death I will continue to tell you important things.
Yeah.
That's like a good continuation. I think Ash is actually pretty good, but obviously a less emotional choice.
Yeah.
But it would make more sense.
Yeah, for the story they're trying to tell.
So it goes to Sam and Dean. And this is why I kept on saying that it's fast-paced. Like, we don't hear the conversation between John and Dean. At least not until later. But, like, it's literally Sam and Dean sitting at the table going, was it Dad? Yeah, it was. Maybe it was. And then, like, Sam asking, like, what did he sound like? And Dean goes, like, Oprah. And, like Dad, obviously. He sounded like Dad. And he says that the call dropped after Dad said his name. Why am I calling him Dad?
You do this often.
Do I?
Yes.
Like, literally,
You
he's
do
dad
this
to
often,
me.
and then you say, "Why am I calling him dad?" I've transcribed you saying this before, I think multiple times.
No.
Something to look into,
Yeah, and
perhaps.
something to talk about with the professional mental health experts in my life.
So real.
And Dean is just sitting there super hopeful. He says, like, what if it really is dad? What happens if he calls back? What do I say? And Sam just goes, hello? And Dean gets super mad at
Yeah.
this. He's like, hello? That's what you come back with? Hello? And then he literally, like,
Fucking leaves.
grabs his jacket and just fucking leaves. He just gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the next scene is him immediately coming back in. But he
And
was
they're
gone
totally
for 3
fine.
hours. Yeah. Which, I mean, is so true. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
That is how it is.
He comes back and he says, like, did you find anything? And Sam's like, in the 3 hours that you've been out, I found nada. And Dean was like, well, you're looking in the wrong places. Look at this hotel brochure. And he shows the hotel brochure and he says that it's the birthplace of Thomas Edison, the place that they're in right now. And Sam reads something in the pamphlet that he's like, oh my god, this is unreal. You're kidding, right?
Mm.
And then they go to a museum.
Yes. It's also very important that Dean says that Sam has a Stanford education and a high school hookup rate of 0.0.
Well, it's still super weird to me. Maybe, like, with brothers, it's different.
Okay.
But it's still super weird to me that, like,
that they discuss their
Dean
sex lives with each other.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, why are you so invested? And, like, I know the answer that a portion of the fandom
God,
will
don't.
give to that. It annoys me.
I mean, I think he's just doing the masculine posturing, you get no bitches thing. Like, it's important to know where they stand in their getting bitches points so that they know how to make fun of each other.
He has zero riz, as the kids nowadays say.
Yes. Also, okay, like, this episode is so Sam 2 is John's son. You know? Like,
I like his characterization.
I guess I get that it's just that Sam's more skeptical about the phone calls at all. But, like, I feel like if they want to establish stuff, they still need some longer, more lingering shots on Sam's face to show that he's, like, holding back certain emotions or something. But, like, it's just, like, nothing. But
yeah, I mean, I like the line where Dean goes, like, even in death, you're still, like, going against him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much
but
it.
I did like it a lot.
So we're in a museum, and there's a tour guide going around, and she introduces them to Thomas Edison's spirit phone that he, like, made to, like, communicate with the dead. And when she's talking, she, like, puts air quotes around things. She's like, did you know that he was an occultist? And Dean whispers, what's with the quotey fingers? And obviously I scream Cass forever, forever, and ever. Did you also thought about Cass at this point, right?
Absolutely fucking not.
What? But
no.
But quote fingers are like a Cass thing.
I mean, I know it is, but, like, I feel like it's over exaggerated in
it is, like,
fandom portrayals.
I guess since I've learned things from fanon and not the actual show, it makes sense that is something that I emphasize and you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, my people skills are rusty. It's just a very good scene, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, Does he also do it in like wavelength of celestial intent? I have been for a
Huh.
year, like he puts year in a quotation marks.
Does he? That's
He's so
great.
cute. I don't know.
He's so cute.
Well, like, so true of him.
Yeah.
So cute. I spent the last year and I was like, okay, you're cute.
Oh, he's doing like the old people thing where they use quotation marks to mean like italics, like in texts. Good for him.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. So she walks off with the group and Sam and Dean inspect the spirit phone with an EMF and there's nothing. And like
Nothing.
it's so like Dean's being so hopeful. He's like, "What do you think?" Like when like Sam's waving the EMF and there's literally no sound whatsoever. Like he still wants Sam to tell him that like he thinks he's picking something up. And I do generally enjoy like what they're doing here. Like this feels kind of like Dean's Houses of the Holy, in that like he wants to believe that it's a ghost so bad so that he can believe that it's actually John. But Sam does not get Dean's part in Houses of the Holy, and it would be nice if Sam got more of Dean's part in Houses of the Holy. They don't really have a better explanation, and Dean believes that it's still John. And then we cut to night in the hotel room. Sam's like asleep in like a white shirt. He's looking so cute. And the camera pans slowly over to like the empty bed next to him, and then a table where Dean is sitting, like drinking coffee to stay up with his phone just like sitting on the table in front of him, and this did make me emo. And the phone finally rings, and Dean like goes into the bathroom and shuts the door. Like, okay, if you were in this situation, would you wake Sam up?
Well, I don't like talking to my parents, so yes.
So true. Yeah, I think I would wake Sam up. Also, just because.
No, because, like, he's also John's son.
Yeah, he literally, too, is John's son. It's just so weird that Sam never is, like, even just out of skepticism, it would make sense for Sam to say, like, wake me up when it happens.
I want to listen too. Yeah.
I want to check if it's actually him. Like, even if he doesn't care to talk to John, which I think he does also care to talk to John, it's so weird that, like, at no point does Sam experience the phone call. He's on the phone, and he doesn't say hello like Sam suggested. He says, "Dad, is it really you?" Something else that makes me emo about, like, Dean's question to Sam being like, "What do I say?" Like, which doesn't fit with the direction that they go in, is that, like, I feel like my thing would be, like, what if he calls again? Like, how do I verify it's him? Or, like, what does it mean? Or whatever. But, like, what do I say, like, is such a, like, I already fully believe that it's him.
Yeah.
And I need to know, like, what I can tell him to, like, show, like, to, like, tell him more about my life or to get closure or, like, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
But then, like, the rest of the John plot is just, like, Dean demon deal shit, which is, like, completely unrelated to Dean's feelings. Mm-hmm. So, that's odd, but yeah. So, you know, Dad, is it really you? And John says, like, it is, but, like, there's no way that you can be sure. And then he goes, like, Dean, like, how could you do it? How could you sell your soul? And Dean says, I was looking after Sam like you told me to. Was that the reason?
I mean, no.
Yeah,
also,
no, but...
that's, like, something he would tell himself, you know?
Huh. Interesting.
Like, he would tell himself that, like, oh, like, I'm just looking out for him. But really, the reasoning is as we've talked about
Yeah.
before, quite selfish.
Yes. But, like, he says it so fast and, like, so, like, seemingly sincerely that, like, I don't, like, has he rehearsed this conversation in his head? Like, does he, like, sometimes, like, try to justify himself to John in his head already, like, with this certain action?
That's a sad, sad thought.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I think it is so interesting that he just, like, defaults to, like, his, like, I'm just doing what you told me to thing. Like, is his main goal just, like, he doesn't want John to be mad at him? Like, because, I don't know, he genuinely seems surprised that John is, like, upset that Dean sold his soul, you know? Which...
I think, like,
Mm-hmm.
because he sees himself as a weapon of John to protect Sam, right?
Yeah.
Like, when they were younger, that's what his job was.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think he really is surprised that John could be mad at him for selling his soul. To him, it's like, that's my job to be Dad's replacement. And since Dad sold his soul for me, aka us, then I should also sell my soul for me, aka us. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. He's continuing on the family tradition and such. I also just realized in this second, how did John telling Dean to kill Sam, how did that not come up in this conversation?
Oh my... Holy shit! Yeah, like, you told me to take care of Sam.
Yeah,
you also told me to take
care
care of him. You told me to take care of him like how one would take care of a lame horse.
Yeah, that's the last thing John said to Dean, and that does not come up at all in this phone call. Well,
yeah,
that's
it's like
Jeremy
we forgot
Carver.
about it.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I didn't even have that question while I was watching it. Just like this second, I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't this be relevant?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, Jeremy Carver put John in a role that is not really suitable for him. Yeah, and then John says some fake ass, like, Azazel possessing him shit, where he says, I never wanted this. You're my boy. I love you. I can't watch you go to hell, Dean. In season 1, this would be Dean's, like, this isn't him hang up moment.
Yeah. But he's still so convinced now, you know?
And I guess the true last time he saw John was after he killed Azazel, when John came over and was like, I'm so proud of you, and then spat directly in Sam's face and then went into the light.
I'm so proud of you, Dean. Sam, goodbye.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess maybe he's like, well, like, in death, John has let go of some of his, like, Sergeant Drillmaster ways and is, like, open to telling me that he loves me and doesn't want me to go to hell. Which is, you know, a very high bar for a parent to reach. This is, like, a really great feat that he's accomplished. So, yeah, Dean says, like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to stop it. And John says, well, okay, I know that you don't want to because Sam would die, but I know a way out for both of you because the demon who holds your contract is here right now.
Yeah. And our next scene is a scene with the girl that we were talking about earlier, Lainey.
Yeah. The scene is fucking terrifying.
It is. Like, Lainey is just chatting with someone and then suddenly her mom, the SHA 33 number, like, starts messaging her, and it's like, Lainey, is that you?
Yeah.
And
this
then
is
it's
on,
like, I asked you a question last night.
Which makes it scarier.
Yeah, it's like a desktop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a
it's not a
desktop
laptop.
situation.
It's a fucking, clunker of a guy.
Yeah, and it's like, I asked you a question last night. Have you thought about it? And like, Lainey throughout this just looks terrified, right? And she's like, I don't know what you want. I want to see you. And Lainey is like, types down like, I want to see you at the cemetery. And she goes, that's not what I mean. And Lainey just goes, I'm scared. And then, oh my god, this scene actually terrified me.
So fucking scary.
Like, I'm so scared. But literally, like, the chat goes, don't be scared. I'm right here with you. And then the webcam fucking turns on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the heebie-jeebies, like, talking about it. The webcam turns on, and then, like, Lainey can see herself, right? Mm-hmm. On the screen. And then a woman walks up behind her in a nightgown.
In a white nightgown, of course.
And like holds her shoulder, and she freaks out. She's like, holy shit. And she turns around, and obviously no one's there. And then the screen just becomes black. She turns off the screen.
She turns off
so
the
it's
laptop.
Black.
Or desktop, yeah.
Well, stop calling it laptop. Yeah. And then it's just it types over and over again, come to me, come to me, come to me. And Lainey is just on the side crying.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then our
webcam horror is so fucking effective. I don't know why. I think it's just because my laptop is my little guy, and it's so scary. The idea that it could act against my wishes is so terrifying to me.
Yeah. I think, like, the webcam thing is, like, a real fear that people have. Like, you know how laptops nowadays have the webcam cover?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, it's tapping into that as well, I feel like, for me.
Yeah.
That, like, people could be watching you. Like, it taps into that kind of anxiety as well.
Yeah.
So, it's effective in that front. Although, I suppose during this time, that was less of a concern.
Right. Edward Snowden had not said anything yet.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it was scary.
Yeah.
And, like, talking about it, like, genuinely, I was like, because I have my back against the room right now, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this is so creepy.
Yeah. Also, both of us are on our laptops right now. So that part is also scary. I'm like do not turn weird. Don't turn weird on me, bud.
When I said that, like, and then the webcam turns on, I looked up at my webcam, and, like, because I have a webcam cover, you can see, because it's a different color when it's covered, and I'm like, wouldn't it be so terrifying if it, like, just turns? Like, if it just switches off?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's effective horror.
Yeah.
Like, the horror scenes in this episode are actually really good.
Yeah. Like, you can definitely see why these people killed themselves. I would kill myself out of pure fear in this moment.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So, our next scene is Dean, like, in the motel room. Sam comes in, and Sam says that Lainey had a spook regarding her mom last night, and Dean literally just goes, that sucks.
Not even looking up.
As if I just didn't have the most terrifying moment of watching Supernatural I've ever had in my life. But he goes like, that sucks. And he says that he has been researching about death omens and, like, demon omens. And he finds that the weather report corroborates the idea that a demon is following them, in some guy's body.
Mm.
And
Sims?
Sam is like,
Yeah.
and it's following you because... And he goes, I guess I'm big game. And in that moment, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like that he, like, obviously, like, the point of the scene is to show that he's being, like, unreasonable.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think he would be to this degree.
Right.
Do you think so?
Huh, like you think that he wouldn't believe that the demon's following him?
No, I think, like, he would be more reasonable than this. Because, like, the way this is presented to us is, like, it's fake. And, like,
yeah, the weather
there's
reports.
no omens. Yeah, the weather reports.
Well,
He's just seeing a pattern that's not there.
What I thought was happening was, like, if this guy can manipulate laptops, I thought, like, maybe he was just, like, manipulating the weather reports that Dean was looking up.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
But I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. So, Sam is very unenthusiastic.
Wait, you
about
forgot when
this,
Dean
and
said
Sam...
my ass is too sweet to let out of sight.
I mean, it's a whatever line.
I guess it's a whatever line. I just feel like it holds intrigue in some of our listeners' minds, so it's good to point out.
Yeah. For the Dean fuckers in the room.
Yeah. You say like
are
you
the
are
Dean
not
fuckers
one
in
of
the
them.
room? And are the Dean fuckers in the room with us right now?
Are they coming up behind us in the webcam?
That's so creepy. And Dean, like, okay. And Sam is again very unenthusiastic, and Dean just goes like, well, don't get too excited for me, won't you? And Sam clarifies that he really wants to believe it's just that well, he can. And Dean goes on that he has to believe because it's the only thing he has. Like, at some point Sam says, you're just going into this with blind faith. And Dean says, maybe blind faith is all I have. And I love that line.
Yeah. It's fun. Again, this is very Dean's Houses of the Holy.
Yeah, like, literally, he just wants to believe that it really is John. That he's willing to ignore everything, including the fact that they don't even know if the exorcism, or this time, it's not an exorcism, it's like, it will kill the demon. Yeah. They don't even know if it will work, but Dean is like, it will. I trust in Jesus and our Father.
Yeah, our Father,
literal
who
Father.
art in heaven now that he escaped from the Hell Gate. Hallowed be his name.
And Sam asked, like, did Dad tell you where to find the demon? And Dean goes like, I'm waiting on the call. And Sam, instead of waiting with him, goes like, I told Lainey that I will stop by. And Dean gets mad at this, and this is when he says the line that we have been upset about earlier, the jailbait line. He says like, now you go hang out with jailbait, just watch out for Chris Hansen. Meanwhile, I'll be here getting ready to, save my life. I didn't even know that Chris Hansen was to catch a predator person. Yeah. But, damn.
This also...
What an ugly ass thing to say.
Is he just, like, making a reference? Like, just, like, the way that he makes this reference makes me think he's, like, anti-Chris Hansen. Like, he's anti, like, catching pedophiles.
Uh,
Or, like, he's like, Chris Hansen's overreacting. Like, that's just the vibe I get from that sentence. Jeremy Carver, what are you saying? What are you trying to do here?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam just leaves.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right. Also,
Yeah.
when Dean says that line, like, Sam has been heading towards the door, and Sam, like, fully turns around and makes, like, a what the fuck face at him.
As he should have.
Yeah. Right.
This is like, in Succession when Roman was like, when Shiv goes like, oh, nice perfume, what is that, date rape?
Uh-huh.
And then Roman goes, you wish, and Shiv like literally goes, you wish? That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
Completely irrelevant to this conversation. I just wanted to bring up that Succession is coming back March 26th.
Yeah. I understand.
Literally.
Yeah, and they have paid us to advertise in the middle of our podcast, our wildly successful podcast.
They paid us unimaginable amounts of money.
I'm sitting on a pile of cash right now. It was a bank transfer, and then I went and asked them to make it all out to me in $1 bills so I could sit in it like a nest.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, right. Also, Dean does not give a fuck that, like, all the people getting these calls have killed themselves, and Lainey's mom literally told her to kill herself. But I guess Lainey didn't.
Well, no, only one.
Okay,
only
yeah,
one
only
has
one
killed
person
himself.
That's true. I feel like phone sex woman's probably fine. Like, it doesn't seem like that has been a direction that her husband has been trying to take her in. Maybe the direction there is that he's trying to give her a heart attack with the amount of phone sex that they have.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the creature is like, well, she's gonna die soon anyway.
Maybe.
So might as well,
Yeah.
provide her with some
nourishment before she goes.
Nourishment. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go to.
I wonder if it's like, I mean, the way the creature. I forgot the name, so I'm calling it the creature. What's the name?
Crocata.
Crocata. So like the crocata like is the one talking, right?
But also,
or is it
when
like
we see
I've conceptualized a being?
When we see him make his calls, what he does is he goes up to like a phone box and like basically humps it. He doesn't talk.
Well, he doesn't hump it. He just like holds it in a way.
He arches his back in a way that's very uncomfortable to watch.
He literally arches his back. I did notice that.
He closes his eyes and like lifts his like neck up and arches his back as he like strokes the phone box. And that is how he's making these calls. He doesn't talk. He's just like psychically like, I feel like he's just like, I don't know, like he has powers that can like read minds and just gives people what they want while also adding in KYS. I don't really know.
Yeah, maybe.
Cause like this thing that he's setting up with Dean and that other guy is like quite clever, but like from what we see of him using his powers, like I don't know how much of the brain work he's actually doing for that.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, is it like all his ideas, or it's like I'm letting these concepts like run wild?
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Because he does say later, like when he's like monologuing at Sam while Sam's tied up, he's doing like the internet data collection, everything's out there in a way that like, and he's like, I found like your number and Dean's number and like John's numbers, and then I like looked through your phones. So that implies that like he's just doing this based off of like information he gleaned from their texts, you know?
Yeah.
But that's not what we see of him using
Black
his powers.
Mirror.
Yes.
You know that like Black Mirror episode? Like it does make me wonder about that. Like how much of these people that they're talking to are actually the same personality and how much of it is just hoping that they are the person that they say they are.
Yeah. Because, like, when we hear Linda in the beginning, like, her conversation with Ben is so nothing. Like, she's
Generic.
just some crying woman going, like, I love you forever. Don't you love me too? Like, she's some, like,
Yeah.
tricentennial electronics ass, like, sorry, that's a Disco Elysium thing. Like, just, like, weird, like, computer generated, magic generated, like, concept. And, like, it seems like
Yeah.
John just keeps hanging up randomly, and all he says is Dean's name, and here's how you can go find this demon to die. So, yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of the original personality in there. It's just that people's emotional attachments to these voices are so strong that, like, they're just willing to take anything and believe it. But yeah, I don't know how much, like, of the power is, like, him actually thinking and talking. Yeah, so we are at Lainey's house where Sam is there, and we find out that Lainey has not told her dad about any of this because she doesn't want to bother him at work. So true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, given that her mother died, that doesn't do wonders for the relationship between a father and a daughter, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. And she explains that her mom kept saying she wanted to see her, so she went to the cemetery, but then that didn't work. Her mom kept asking her to do other things, bad things. We do a brief cut to her little brother's room, and his, like, plastic toy telephone starts ringing, which I loved. I thought that was so fun.
I do love it. Yes.
Yeah. Though I guess I don't know how that meshes with the lore that, like, this guy's operating out of a phone company and that's how he's able to interact with all these things.
How is he able to call a toy that's disconnected from everything?
Yeah, I have no clue. The lore here is quite inconsistent, but, like, just the image of that toy telephone ringing and knowing that it's, like, a malevolent thing is, like, very effective horror. I just wish that they had a better explanation. So he picks up, he says, "Hello, Simon Greenfield speaking," in his little, like, 7-year-old voice, which is adorable. And then he goes, like, "Yeah, of course I want to see you, Mommy. Where are you?" And then we have Dean getting called by fake John, with fake John telling him where the demon is. And we cut back to Lainey, and she explains that her mom told Lainey to take all of her dad's sleeping pills, and she's like crying at this point, like very distraught. Yeah, and Sam's like, "Yeah, I don't know why your mom wanted you to fucking kill yourself." And Lainey says, like, she says, "Just so I could come to her?" And Sam goes, "Wait, no, what was her specific wording?" And she says, "She told me, come to me," like 1,000,000 times. And there's, like, dramatic music in Sam's face, and he goes, "Lainey, that's not your mother." Woo! Fun.
Literally.
It's... Yeah.
I mean, like, the "that's not your mother" line was like, oh, okay.
Like, we knew that
Because
already.
we have known that.
Yes.
But the way the dramatic music,
Yes.
blah, 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 I was like, okay.
Yeah.
There's also, I forgot which scene it was, but there was a scene in the show where we had very dramatic piano music, and I was like, I love that. Like, I know we used to complain about the dramatic piano in this show.
I
But,
think
like,
it was in.
I think it's
it was
Lace.
in the episode. Are we talking about the one where it was the episode where Gordon is killed, and Sam and Dean have an emotional conversation? I don't know if that's the episode though. I remember there being
No, but like
yeah.
there are other ones where we also talked about like the music here is so dramatic and it takes away from the episode.
Yeah.
But like this one, the episode is like creepy enough and like sometimes unserious enough to be able to balance it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then, right, we're cutting back and forth between, like, the Dean sitch, the Laney's house sitch. Dean goes into some, like, random house in the suburbs with all his weapons. Sam, is, like, walking out into the hallway with Laney and telling her, like, do not fucking touch, like, any electronics. And then Lainey looks into her brother's bedroom and notices that it's empty. And then we see Simon walking across the road, like, with, like, cars going past and, like, honking their horns, and he's just, like, walking forward, like, completely ignoring everything. In the house, Dean's, like, setting up holy water, doing a devil's trap below a rug. And then we get Simon still walking across the road, and there's like a giant truck that's about to hit him. And then Sam fucking runs across the road, grabs Simon, and like throws himself back as the truck passes by, and that's fun.
And then the truck doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Yes.
Not even like a, how are you?
Yeah. Nope. He does not give a shit. The driver could not care less about
They don't give a shit.
any of this.
Yeah. But like, I was like, go Sam.
Yeah.
You're so handsome.
No.
You're such a superhero.
Literally. It's like, yeah, saving a child from like a truck is just such a superhero move. And yeah, he looked good doing it, so good for him.
So, Sam, at this point, calls quote Dean and says that it's not that, like, it's a crocota. And then Dean is the one who tells him, like, a crocota, that makes sense. Because, like, the crocotas are like scavengers who live in filth. And remember the flies in the telephone company?
Yes.
And Sam's like, gotcha. You're right. And like, it makes sense that he thinks that this is Dean because he did tell Dean to stay put, right?
Yeah, he said, like, don't go anywhere without me. Like, don't listen to what the phone says. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it makes sense that he thinks this is Dean, but alas, as we learn a little bit later, it's not because Sam like goes towards Stewie in like an alley.
Oh wait, yeah, but
in the dark of the night.
We should mention that like Dean is just like completely like unemotional about the fact that it wasn't John, and like I feel like that is supposed to be our red flag that this isn't Dean.
Yeah, he's like, oh, damn it, you're right. He's literally like that tone.
Yeah. Like, oh
anyway,
no.
Is Stewie like trying to steal a car?
I don't think so. I think he's just going into his car.
It's his car?
Yeah.
He's just having a lot of trouble.
Yeah, unlocking it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, anyway, so Stewie
as
is
Sherlock
trying to unlock
Holmes
his car.
from BBC Sherlock would say, he's an alcoholic and you can see the scratch marks around the keyhole in his car.
Maybe you probably literally can. But like, he's trying to open his car and then Sam jumps him, puts a knife at his neck, and is like, I know who you are, and I know how to kill you.
Why does
and
Sam
Sui
assume
is
it's
like,
him?
No.
Aren't there
Well,
multiple
because he's the
employees?
one who was they were
living in filth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, if we're overcharging you for the call waiting, I can fix that. I'm your friend. And Sam, of course, is very confused by this. And then suddenly, the guy from earlier, the manager, shows up behind Sam.
Yeah. Okay, I think something
and smacks him.
Want to mention with Stewie is like, okay, like he keeps calling Sam Mister, right? Which is that I feel like when it is said by like an Indian man begging for his life, and I just feel I don't think people call people Mister that much, right? And
No. I know what you're talking about. Like it's a race thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's very like. It's like it just feels like servile or whatever.
Do you think that's like a part of the script?
Like, what do you mean? Like they specifically
like
put that there because
they were like, oh, this
an Indian man
this...
or
yes,
maybe. Because another
or
thing
is you think it's like an actor choice? It could be.
It could be. I really don't. I don't know how much improv goes into Supernatural. I guess we would have to see the original script. I don't know if it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think at this situation it is like a Sir thing. Like, Mr. is a little bit out there.
Yeah, and the I'm your friend thing too is also like it's funny, but like it feels different when it's said by like an actor who like was born in India and thus has an accent and also is like they just do like a weird like emasculating like, oh, like I'm so sorry to these two white men who are threatening me physically, I'll do whatever, like, you know, like it's a weird vibe because of various traits of the scenes.
And I'm trying to think whether like the saying that it's like because if they did this with a white character, it would still have the same effect of like, oh, this character is like emasculated, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not trying to fight for my life, I'm not trying to negotiate, I'm scared and I'm like giving up immediately. Like that's the vibe. And I'm trying to think if like they would do this with a white character that they're not trying to emasculate.
Yeah, because I feel like the only other like character who ends up being like a victim who like they are like doing mostly for humor is like that guy in Night Shifter, but like he had a very different vibe because he was all like about trying to be a hero and shit, so I can't really draw many comparisons there. You
know what I could think of though? Hell House. They do this kind of
that's true
to Ed and Harry,
like the ghosts, holy Lord of the Rings, whatever.
They do this kind of to Ed and Harry.
Yeah, but do they like beg for their lives?
No, with Ed and Harry, that's why I was clearing it up earlier that they wouldn't do this to a white man that they're not trying to emasculate.
Yeah.
Because like that is the point of this kind of dialogue.
Yeah.
Anyway, the manager sneaks up from behind Sam and bonks him in the head.
Yes, with a baseball bat.
And Stewie, or like a pipe. I'm not sure. Is it a baseball bat
or is it a pipe?
Anyway, Stewie's very happy about this. He's like, "Good job, Clark." And then
he also says,
"Thank you so much."
That's what happens when you mess with the phone company. Could they not just come up with a name for this company? Like, it feels so out of place. Like, this is what happens when you mess with Office, you know?
This is what happens when you mess with the one monopoly of phone companies in the United States.
Yeah, that is such a monopoly that it doesn't even need a name because it doesn't require brand recognition to continue its cultural and economic relevance. So true.
Anyway, Clark is like smiling menacingly, and Stewie's like, Clark? And then the guy bonks Stewie in the head.
Yep. Goodbye. So, we're all at the basement now, and Stewie and Sam are all tied up to rolly chairs, which I love. And yeah, they're just continuing the emasculation arc where they're also trying to make him a comedic character, I guess. Where he's going like, I'm so sorry, Clark, for whatever I did to you. Like, please don't hurt me. And then Clark, like, has a knife that he's, like, holding over Stewie. And then Stewie turns to, like, there's a good man inside of you, you're not a killer tactic. And Sam's like, please let him go, like, etc. And Clark is like, well, I would, but I'm starving. And then he kills Stewie. He stabs him in the heart with the knife. And he starts eating Stewie's, like, life energy, and, like, his mouth opens, like, way too large, and, like, his teeth
he also arches his back.
He arches his back. Yeah, his teeth look all, like, gross. They're, like, very long and thin, and there's, like, viscera clinging to all of it. Yeah. And Sam reveals to the audience, like, oh, you were on the phone as Dean last time. You led me here on purpose. And Clark's like, yeah. And he goes over and starts making out with and humping a telephone exchange cabinet, in order to use his powers. And he's like, yeah, so I'm either killing your brother or another guy. We'll see how it goes. And we cut to another guy. And, okay, I did not know that he was a police officer, but the transcript says that he's in a police locker room?
He is, because he's sitting with a police officer.
Oh, I thought they were just, like, vibing. I thought that they, like, just both went to the same gym. Okay, so, yeah, he's a police officer, which, okay, makes sense. Because I was like, why wouldn't he just call the police on Dean being in his house? But I guess if he is the police, then that makes sense. So his phone rings.
Yeah.
And there's this little girl who goes like, hi, Daddy. And he says like, hi, I thought you promised that you weren't going to call me anymore. Because this makes me so sad and I'm so upset. And I was so sad at your funeral. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I know who killed me, Daddy. The man who killed me. He's at the house right now. And he wants to kill you, too. Sounding, like, very cheerful.
Love it.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah. It was great. Shout out to this child voice actress. Good for her.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And he starts heading home.
Sam says that, like, mimicking Dean was easy, but, like, the way you mimicked our dad, that's a trick. And Clark reveals that, like, he figured out that they were hunters, and then he just found Dean's number, and then, like, everybody else's number, and he got contact with, like, the voice emails and everything, which is what Crystal said earlier.
Right.
Which is what you said earlier, that, like, he literally just found all these information from the internet or, like, from a database or whatever. which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it quite a bit earlier.
Uh-huh.
But, like, this is not how information works, right?
Like, as in, like, he couldn't get on a laptop and get all these things?
No, like, are they really stored? Like, your phone calls are recorded and stored?
I think actually it says that what he
I
looked at were
assume-
emails and voicemails. I mean, like, the U.S. government does wiretap
yeah.
phones in our country, so that information's probably stored somewhere, but yeah, I think he was looking at emails and voicemails. Which means that, like,
Yeah,
he got
so
all
not
the
phone
demon
calls.
deal information from voicemails, where Sam's like, "Hello, Dean, I
That's
am calling you about the fact that you sold your soul for me. Can you get back to me next week about this?" Like,
That's so funny. That's so fucking funny.
yeah.
Yeah, and Sam says, like, Dean's not gonna fall for it. He's not gonna kill the guy. And then the guy says, well, that or the guy's gonna kill him.
Okay, also a visual detail that happens at the beginning of this phone scene is that after Clark takes the knife out of Stewie's chest, he, like, shoves him away on the rolly chair, and, like, he goes into another room and hits a wall and stops. And I found that image, like, so, like, creepy. Like, or just, like, I don't know, like, it's, like, a good way to show, like, how evil Clark is. Because it's, like, the horror of, like, the sanctity of, like, a corpse being violated, and also something that's dead moving when you feel like it shouldn't be moving, like, seemingly on its own. But yeah, I thought
Like,
that was a good choice.
It was particularly brutal,
Yes.
I feel. Like, I mean, I know he got stabbed in the chest, but, like, the removing the knife and then pushing him away was like, that's brutal.
That is pretty, yeah,
Don't do that.
was, like, pretty bad, and I feel like, I don't know, like, the history of corpses in Supernatural, I feel like the ones that get, like, defiled in some way after they actually die, like, I feel like there's just been, like, this guy and maybe, like, Gordon. We get the shot of, like, his head on the ground, which is quite, like, bad. I feel like most people
Obviously,
after they
like,
die, yeah, like, it just feels like a weird racism thing that, like, the only corpses that get...
they do it last episode.
Oh, did they? Wait, what did they do last episode?
Ghostbusters, Ghostfacers.
Oh, right. Yeah, Corbett's
Literally,
dressed
like,
up in his little hat.
Corbett's gay body, in a hat, dressed up and so miserable for a party.
Yeah, that is true. Right. Okay. Yeah, but I guess right. I feel like if we kept a tally of which, like, corpses Supernatural think are, like, sacred enough to not do anything bad to them, and which ones, like, it's okay to do something bad to them afterwards, I don't know. I feel like could be interesting data.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're showing this and being like,
this is good.
well, it's a good
That's
thing.
That's true. But I think it's also, like...
Yeah.
It's also, like, we didn't really talk that much about, like, the Henriksen toilet drowning, but, like, I feel like there's, like, a level of, like, dignity or a level of, like, we won't show that because it's too bad that Supernatural has about, like, its horror and its gore, and their, like, threshold seems to lower more often for people of color.
Yeah, I think that's a better point than, like, the point earlier.
Yeah, I think that is, like, maybe what I mean.
This one was, like, this one was more brutal than we're used to. Like, remember when, like, you know how when stabbing occurs, usually it's, like, cut away?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this one was, like, front and center. He gets stabbed, and then you can see the light get out of his eyes.
Yeah.
And then, like, he gets pushed around after that.
Yeah.
You see the lifting out of the knife fully.
Yes.
stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this one, they really want you to see the violence.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Anyway, Dean's guest has arrived, and there's actually like a lot of tension because he doesn't know that the guy knows that he's there.
Yeah.
So he's waiting by the door, and he's like, why is he not coming in yet? And then the guy busts in, rifle in hand.
Yep.
And Dean just about dodges before he gets shot. And they're just beating each other. And at some point, Dean gets the upper hand and beats the shit out of the man. And you, the audience, can feel like they're like, no, no. Like, you can... that is how you feel. And I think it's so effective in that way.
Right. I do have a question
Meanwhile,
about the styling choice here. This guy also has short brown hair and is also wearing jeans.
Yeah.
So there were so many points in
Like,
the
at
fight
some point-
scene where I was like, wait, who's winning? What's happening?
Yeah, that's true. Like, there are points where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Just that somebody is getting beat up, baby.
Yeah. I don't know if that's, like, intentional as, like, a, look, they're the same because they, like, both are
parallel.
confused and they don't know what's going on and they've been manipulated into hurting each other, or if they just, like, didn't think hard enough to make them visually distinct during the fight scene. Not sure what they were going for.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the phone company, the Crocata is like, oh, I used to only feed like twice every year, but now like I get to eat all the time. And it's because you people are so distanced from each other. You people are like using technology to become closer, but it has driven you farther apart.
This is so funny.
And it's like,
okay, Jeremy Carver, like write a think piece about this.
Okay. Yeah, like, it's funny to me that was, like, the thing that they were fighting for. That he was fighting for. That he was like, technology is actually bad for you guys. And that's why I can murder more people. And also, I found it interesting that he's the opposite of the spectrum in terms of, like, how modernization has affected him as a creature. Because almost everyone else was like, oh, life has been so much harder now that people worship other things or think about other things. But he's like, oh, life has actually become easier because I've adapted to the technology.
Yeah. That part's interesting. But the rest of it is like, yeah, Jeremy Carver, this didn't have to be in your show. Like, you know, you can publish op-eds elsewhere. Oh, right. Also, a little bit about Crocata lore, is that, like, these were, like, written about in, like, bestiaries by, like, Roman and, like, Greek, like, so-called scientists or philosophers and shit. And, in the original writings, they were like, this is a creature that looks kind of like a cross between a dog and a wolf, and it lives in either India or Africa, and it can mimic human voices, and then it draws them out and then kills them in the night. And, like, I think what people have sort of decided is that what they were doing was just, like, taking hyenas and, like, messing them up down the telephone pole. You know, like, they were just talking about hyenas, but mythologizing them, which I think is so fun.
Like, because they laugh like humans.
Yeah.
That's the thing about hyenas,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Have you, like, is that, I don't know, have you interacted with one? Is that the proper term? Have you seen one?
A hyena, I have not. I don't know if they're in any of the zoos near me. I haven't been to a zoo in so long.
But aren't they, like, wild animals that, like, you can see in the wild? Like,
I mean,
in
not,
the neighborhood?
I don't think they live in the U.S.
They don't live in the U.S. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but
What
yeah.
coyote is what I'm
Oh,
thinking about.
yeah. I have seen coyotes. Right, which I feel like is a
Yeah.
detail I
Is it
wouldn't...
coyote?
Coyotes? Are you gonna say that that sounds gay?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, I said
Oh,
coyote
I didn't
because I don't
notice.
know how else to pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because
That's not
when
something
I
you want to
said
share?
machete, you were like, "That's such a gay way to pronounce it, machete." So I thought you were gonna go, "That's such a gay way to say it, coyote." But yeah,
Yeah,
right,
so
yeah.
real.
Hyenas do not. I don't know of any in the U.S. I've not encountered any. Society of Clark was just a hyena. Or if he just turned into a hyena, but Supernatural's just some guy as will never allow us to see a dog.
Well, we will a couple seasons
Oh
from
my
now.
god, fuck. Dog scene afternoon.
I'm still repping that episode, man. I know it has problems. I know it has issues. I'm willing to turn a blind eye.
I'll know what I feel about it when I get to it.
Yeah, and basically as Clark is about to like eat Sam escapes from his thighs and he beats Clark and then they're just like fighting.
Yes.
And as they're fighting, Dean and the man are fighting and the man like Dean throws the man into the rug which under it is the
devil's trap.
the devil's trap and then he starts reciting the death for demons recital.
Yeah, the
I don't know what to call it.
Thing that
The
that John gave him on the phone.
the not exorcism.
Yeah.
Yeah, the not exorcism. And the man is like very confused, like, what is this? What are you doing? And then he starts walking and then he says, like, is this how you killed my daughter? And then Dean like gets confused by this and then notices that the man is stepping out of the devil's trap and then he goes like, how did you do that? And he realizes that, oh shit, this man is not a demon.
Yep.
And then he goes like, I made a mistake. And the man was like, he was 9 years old. And that actually made me,
I actually
like,
was
so sad.
emo about that. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, like Sam ends up killing.
I love this kill.
Clark.
It's a rusty nail ass kill.
Yeah, in a rusty nail situation.
But through the
like
neck,
it was like one
baby.
of those like yeah, like literally the visual of a man being held on his like base of his skull up after dying.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that's holding him up.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say. Anyway, back to Dean and the man.
Oh, well,
Like, at some
specifically,
point-
we didn't explain how the kill works. They're, like, fighting, and they're, like, near a shelf with, like, hooks on it for, like, hanging things up, and Sam fucking, like, slams this guy's head back into the hook, and it stabs him through his neck, and he dies. It's great.
Yeah, it's so cool. Anyway, the man goes... Dean and the man are, like, on the floor now. And then the man is, like, hitting Dean. And he's saying, like, she was 9 years old. And Dean is saying, like, no, I didn't kill her. And then he manages to turn around the situation where he's standing over the guy. And then the man is still crying, going, like, why did you kill her? And he just says, I'm sorry, I didn't kill your daughter. And the man goes, what are you doing here then? And Dee just goes, I don't know. And I felt more emotion in this scene than in any other scene in the episode. Which is impressive given that, you know, it's a John episode.
Yeah. But, you know...
I felt so much this scene.
Yeah.
like
I think this
I
guy's a
think
good
because
actor.
child
Yeah,
death.
child death is pretty
No,
bad.
no, no. Child, yeah, like child death is just sad because like I have children in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and like the concept of like a child dying is so harrowing,
Mm-hmm.
and like this man, like when he was crying, he was like, you know what, like when his child called him,
Yeah.
and he was like, you know, this makes me so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that he probably entertained like talking to his kid until he realized that he literally can't do it
Yeah.
because it just makes him so devastated. Like the idea makes me so sad.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this one really hit me.
Yeah. Agreed. Ugh. Good stuff. So
Good stuff. The case is good this
yeah,
episode.
I think that this is a good case because it's a good monster. Like it allows for a lot of emotional, like whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So in our last scene, so we see it's a mirror shot of Dean like wiping some of like the blood off of his face or whatever, and then Sam enters behind him, also bloody faced. And we see him in the mirror, and Dean says, "I see they improved your face," and Sam says, "Right back at ya." We don't honestly. The whole time the scene was going on, I was like, "Why the fuck are you sitting here? You have to get out of town before that cop Dean beat up comes and tries to like arrest you." But I guess we're just supposed to assume that they had a conversation where they were both like, well, I totally believe that both of us got tricked by a monster over the phone. Sorry for beating you up. Bye, bro. But, okay,
Yeah.
sure, whatever. If they say that happened, why not? So Sam and Dean go, like, sit on their beds and they have an emotional conversation while looking forward and not at each other like men do. And yeah, Dean goes, what?
Yeah, this is how we have emotional connection, this is how we have emotional conversations. We looked at the same direction.
Yeah.
We don't make eye contact.
And we do not.
And I berate you for ruining the mood.
Yes. And we do not talk about boy bands. So
Literally.
yeah. Sam says, I'm sorry that it wasn't Dad, and Dean's like, no, it's okay. I was like kind of an asshole about that situation and you were right. And Sam says, forget about it, but in his normal voice. And Dean says, well, I can't because I just wanted to believe so badly that there was a way out of this. Which is like the general message of the episode, but still feels like a mismatch with John being on the phone, but whatever, I've complained about that 20 times already. And he says, like, I'm staring down the barrel at this thing, you know, hell, for real, forever, and I'm scared, Sam, I'm really scared. And the transcript says he's tearing up, but he fucking isn't. Sam's the only one actually tearing up in this episode, because Jensen Ackles can't act.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sam's tearing up at Dean's words, and Dean says that he was willing to believe anything because it was the last act of a desperate man. And Sam tells him that there's nothing wrong with having hope. Dean says that he can't expect Dad to show up with some miracle at the last minute, which I thought was an interesting line. I wish that there was more build-up to this, but, like, we do see, like, in season 1, like, how much faith Dean has in John as a hunter and how much he thinks that, like, in Home, for example, that, like, John will be able to, like, come in and save them. So this, like, makes sense, but I wish it was a sentiment that he had expressed earlier in the season. That, like, part of him was just hoping that someone would come in and fix everything and that someone would meet John. He says that the only person that can get him out is him. And then Sam says, and me. Which that is what I assumed would be the next line. Like, that seems fitting, but Dean's immediately like, and me? I was having a deep revelation and a real moment here, and that's what you come back with? And Sam goes like, do you want a poem? And Dean goes, no, the moment's gone. But, you know, they're like, the tension is relieved at least. And then Dean turns the TV on, and we can hear the dialogue there. And it goes like a man, it's like an old-timey movie sound, like in the audio quality, and also that like everyone has a vaguely transatlantic accent. And I think the last line of the movie that we hear is a man saying like, oh, I'll be around long enough for you and I to I'll be around. So, you know, themes or whatever.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad. He does literally die.
Damn. It's like he does die at the end of this.
Yeah, he fucking
season.
actually dies.
Like, he's actually gonna die.
Yeah.
It's like unreal right now, but this ends in death.
Yeah. In 2 episodes, he will die. For realsies.
He will be mauled to death.
Yes.
Anyway. Well, what are your final thoughts?
I feel like I do like this episode generally, but it has a lot of weak writing points that we've already pointed out. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's fitting for where it is in the season, but I also hope Jeremy Carver dies. So, you know.
I mean, it's okay. It's not my favorite episode. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also getting there. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's our next segment?
Best line, worst line.
Best line, worst line. Best line. I mean, my worst line is the platinum subscription line.
Yeah, that is also my worst line, followed by jailbait.
Like yeah. I think my best line is like, why did you kill my daughter? I did not kill your daughter. Then what are you doing here? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the I don't know is that line specifically. Like Dean realizing that he got tricked, Dean realizing that no one's gonna save him.
Yeah.
That he's probably really gonna die for fucking real.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? I don't know. And like, it hit me so hard that like, he was so hopeful and now all that hope is gone.
Yeah.
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 Sad.
Best line.
What's your best line?
I did like Sam's little monologue to Lainey about how he's been where she is, like hearing things and seeing things that can't be explained, and maybe he would be able to help out a little bit. Because I've missed Sam seeing a mirror and running right to said mirror. And I think I also like the line that I pointed out earlier where Dean says, like, what if he calls again? And Sam's like, what do you mean? And Dean says, what do I say? I feel like those were both emo moments for me. Good character moments.
Yeah. Damn, we got spreadsheet next.
We do got spreadsheet next. Misogyny present. How much misogyny? 2?
I would say it's not you have like
true.
Overall good, casual, intrinsic to episode. I feel like we've never followed this in
I've
our
never
fucking
followed
life.
the little scale that I have on the side.
Okay, so let's just go with it. I would say I'll put 2 in misogyny because it's not particularly intrinsic to the episode, but it is reprehensible.
Yeah, there's just like a lot, and it's very like, what the fuck? You can say that? Why did you say that? Yeah. Racism, present,
and kind of intrinsic
to Stewie's character, and also we never like to see a bad mention.
But like the last time we gave a 3, it was with Gordon.
Yeah, I don't think it's there. But also, like, maybe we should have given higher than a 3 for Gordon.
Yeah. But alas, we already did it.
Yeah, we'll change our weighting next season. So I guess we should probably just do a 2 for racism as well then.
Yeah. 2.
I feel like we are
homophobia.
Yeah, I don't.
There's one.
The panties line with Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think.
Okay,
so.
Let's put 1
Sure,
there.
let's put 1 there. I feel like we've been like way more like generous with our misogyny and homophobia points than our racism points. So yeah, that's something else to change next season. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
2-2-1. Jeremy Carver's not looking good, folks.
Yeah. Well, what is our rating for this episode? Our rating guess for this episode.
I feel like it's probably just like smack dab in the middle, maybe a little higher than average because people like when John shows up, right? So maybe just like 8.4 or 5. Which one? I'll do 8.5. Why not?
Okay, I'll do 8.4.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Damn, this one's low.
Oh shit! Like
it's 7.8.
Huh? Really? Were people just still so mad about Ghostfacers that they were just like low rating all of these, or like, let me see what the actual grievances were.
I don't know. This one literally says like on Houses of the Holy.
Oh, okay.
Sam was the believer, and now it's the opposite.
Right.
Sam was a bit too cold on dealing with Dean's blind faith.
Was he? He seemed normal enough.
The pacing. They talked about the pacing. Okay. Which I mentioned.
Yes.
That I didn't like. This one says that the monster of the week is quite good. Mm-hmm. However, I guess the rest of it isn't.
One of these reviews has the sentence, "We live in such a society." So true, we do live in such a society.
And we truly do live in such a society.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. This person says that they feel like Dean's daddy issues were processed in season 2, so they feel like it's unlikely that Dean would fall for this in season 3. I don't know if that's true. I think Dean will have forever daddy issues.
Yeah. This one says that the monster is cool, but the monster itself, like the concept is cool, and what he does is cool, but the monster himself is like, whatevs. And I do agree.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. For this episode of Best Asian Beauties.
Yeah, next week we will be discussing Season 3, Episode 15, Time is on My Side.
Oh no,
Leave
is
us a
Bella
rating
gonna
or
die?
review wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow us on social media. I hope Bella never dies. She is still alive in my heart. We are on Twitter at twitter.com/beautiespodcast and on Tumblr at bestasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPOD, BABPOD, and thank you to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bestasianbeautiespod. And also check out our merch at babpod.redbubble.com.
Yeah. You can email us any feedback, comments, or inquiries at bestasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.